You're here with Teddy Hart, the past, present, and future professional wrestling. You're watching AMBY.
Hey everyone, it's Alicia, and I would like to welcome you to my interview with Teddy Hart. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you feeling?
I'm just beaten up and sore, but happy again to come to Canada. It's my home country, and perform and make people happy and carry on my family's name.
We were here at Demand Lucha where we actually saw you come out victorious in your 5-way scramble tonight. So how are you feeling about that?
Tremendous guys in the ring. Talent overall in wrestling has just gone through the roof. I like to think myself and Jack Evans especially, and Tyson Kidd and Harry Smith, guys like AJ Styles, Low-Key, have set a precedence. Amazing Red too. Obviously we got it from Rey Mysterio Jr. and Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart and Bret Hart, but I think the progression of wrestling talent and the evolution of this sport has gone through the roof. And I see guys like Darby Allin come out here, and Josh Alexander, PJ Black. Obviously, he said he was watching me when he was younger, and I forget that I'm almost 40 now. And I think we set a measuring stick, and we tried to make this business about risking your life for the entertainment of the fans. And I think fans spend a tremendous amount of time and money getting to shows and supporting us, and really appreciating the difference of when guys go in there and mail it in, which I've never been a big fan of the less is more theory in wrestling. I think the more you do safely with finesse and a lot of practice to make that work, and practice makes perfect, the fans know the difference, and the fans love wrestling now, I think, more than ever, and have been supporting it. It's come back a lot, and I think that's because the evolution of this business is people, they see the risks, and gravity's never been a friend of wrestlers. And I don't think the ring gets any softer, and the road doesn't get any easier, but the fans' cheers and your energy makes it easier for us. That's about the one thing I said. We live through it. If you guys give us your love and your adrenaline, it transfers over into me, and it seems to protect my body from getting injured.
It's amazing to hear how incredibly humble you are, because even after you won your match tonight at Demand Lucha, you said the same thing to all the fans, like, thank you for coming, you are the reason we do this. So you find they're the reason you kind of stay more grounded and humble?
Yeah, I didn't want to wrestle for a little while, so I got a job, and I was doing construction, making big money doing construction, and I couldn't believe how hard it was getting up at 6 in the morning and sitting in traffic and working for 4 hours and getting a little lunch break, and even though my boss was cool, taking orders from somebody else. And then I realized that's what most of the people in the real world have to do, and they never get a break. And it's not a 10-year job, it's not a 20-year job, it's a 40, 50-year commitment to send their kids to school, to pay for university, to pay their insurance, to pay their house, their car payment. And they still find the love and energy to come to a show, and I never see the stress on their face about what they did for the week, and that we are truly their outlet for their expression, and they come to support us, and they spend a lot of money, and the one thing we never get back on earth is our time. They spend a lot of time supporting us, and without the fan, we don't have a dream, and without a dream, I don't have a purpose. And if I can have a purpose and live my dream, when I look in the mirror, I was saying this, it makes me feel proud to lace up my boots and to come out here and risk my life for your entertainment, because you spend your lives trying to make us happy, and it's a give and take, and the more you give us, the more we take your love, energy, and we'll say your money, and transfer it into our bodies trying to do stuff to make you guys smile. And it's a big deal to send people home happy and make people feel like they got their money's worth. So being humble is something I've learned over the years as a lesson. I used to be confident and would get transferred over as being cocky, and I never wanted that to come across to my fans as being someone that was arrogant or cocky. In the real life, I'm very humble, but as a wrestler, you want to be confident that I practiced these moves during my years of training to go out there and hit them consistently, so I can be wrestling at 50 years old like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair did, and Shawn Michaels, all these guys that wrestled into their 40s or 50s that still have great matches, are in tremendous shape, because wrestling's about longevity, and the longer I can get out and make fans happy and carry on my family's legacy, the better I think it is for everyone out there that's watched Teddy Hart and understands. I think I could wrestle till I'm probably 60, 65 years old if I'm smart, and the fans keep giving me their energy. I'll keep coming back and trying to, steal the show and have a great match.
It's amazing. And here we're talking about the fans. You mentioned the legacy, of course, the dynasty, and being a third-generation wrestler right here. So for you, when you think back to the first show that you went to, do you remember what it was?
The very first show I watched, I think, was Stampede Wrestling was the first local shows I watched, but the first WWF show was in Calgary that I watched, and all my uncles were on the show, and it was just so cool to see basically the respect that fans had for, say, Hulk Hogan or Bret Hart or the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, and you see energy and love and respect, and fame is something I never think of myself as being famous, more being blessed. But I come from a famous family. But with the fame, it comes a huge amount of responsibility. So I never wanted to be a guy that rode off their coattails or used their name to take a shortcut. So the pressure of being part of the Hart family was tremendous, and that was based off watching how hard they tried and how serious they took this business and how long they were on the road and how little they got to see their families. And they're pioneers, and they created a railroad system that we get to use today. And if it wasn't for all the hardworking wrestlers of the past, I don't think we'd have all the shows now in the future. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that was in the WWF, WCW, New Japan, promotions like that literally risked their lives and never got to see their families, like soldiers, basically. They're soldiers, and they set up this system, and now we use the system, and indie wrestlers get to travel all over the world based on the connections and networking those guys made for us. So I don't mean to deviate off your question, but the first wrestling show was WWF stuff, and before that was Stampede Wrestling, watching Dynamite Kid and Robbie Stewart and guys like Tiger Mask before in Japan, and a couple other guys, maybe like people don't remember their name, but like Mukka Singh and Gamma Singh were guys in Calgary that just did great gimmick work, and you always remember them as being super bad heels, and like people understand watching this business, it's a funny sport, and it's an art, and it's about not hurting the other guy. And I've said this time and time again, there's no skill in hitting a guy with his hands behind his back and knocking his teeth out. It takes a skill to hit him in the face and make everyone believe that I did, and have him walk away smiling so he can see his wife and kids the next day. And it's an art my family's carried on for 3 generations, and I hope people understand this business is about working together and making people happy, which is you, the fan.
You mentioned deviating off questions there. I
Yeah.
mean, feel free to, because these stories I absolutely love hearing.
Oh.
Now, apparently one of your favorite chants to hear from the fans is "Please come back," which you get very, very often when you're wrestling. But for you, are there any chants out there that really stick out to you that you absolutely love, or maybe ones that might even annoy you?
The "Please Don't Die" chant's pretty hard to get. I've gotten a couple of those, but
Really?
those are tough. Those are awesome to get. And the "Please Come Back" is always amazing. I always said, I hope to God I live forever, but reality of being a human being on this planet, and as of the technology right now, I think we have a certain time limit on the planet. And when I go to heaven and I'm standing at the gates of purgatory, I hope that I can pull out of my pocket and give to God basically a note of all the people that came to shows and that chanted "Please come back," and that chanted "Holy shit," pardon my language, and chanted with a smile and clapped their hands, and that cheers, claps, and pats on the back and handshakes and hugs are what gets me into heaven later on, and separates me from everyone else that maybe doesn't understand what being a good person on this planet means. And I think taking care of animals and being nice to kids, and especially people with disabilities that didn't have the same God-given opportunity to live on this planet, and people in third world countries that suffer. We're so lucky to get to live in North America and be able to use this system and to have freedom. And again, people, transgender people, anyone that's dealing with racism, very ignorant type of things. To me, everyone on this planet is given equal opportunity to have fun. And as long as you're not hurting anybody, never judge another person on their free choice, because God gave us free choice to make that the one thing we have. And if you make the free choice to do whatever you want, as long as you do it proud and you don't lie to anybody and you smile and take care of your friends and your family, I got no problem with anybody on the planet. I just want to make sure I get a hug and a handshake out of people that I get to entertain. So
Lots of hugs and handshakes tonight.
of course,
Of
I haven't got a hug out of you yet, but
Afterwards, we'll end it with one. How about that?
then I'll be awesome. So.
Okay. Well, you've called yourself crazy, self-coined yourself crazy many, many times. So I was wondering, have you always kind of been that way, very spontaneous and almost fearless?
Yeah. Again, I believe the fans have a certain protection. If they love you and they know you're risking your life for them, the last thing a fan really wants anyone to ever do is get hurt on a show. I think they put a force field around you. And I've always said that if you watch how many crazy things happen in wrestling, very few injuries actually happen. And I think that's because the fans are like angels, and they protect the fan. They protect the fact that we go out and they know what this business is about. Very few fans are watching wrestling and they think that we're going to kill each other behind the scenes when there's a thin curtain.
course.
But when we step into the ring, the fans understand a movie, and this is entertainment, and this is like a movie. And instead of hacking the special effects, if they're done right, appreciate again, like I say, that we're able to go in there and absolutely kick the shit out of each other, but walk away and I'm still walking, and that guy still gets to go home. Some guys are teachers, and some guys are lawyers, and some guys are stockbrokers, and they don't make enough money doing just indie wrestling to call it a 9-to-5 job to feed themselves or their families. So this is something they do on the weekend to try to still keep that kid inside alive. And if you hurt a guy, again, it takes no skill to hurt a guy, and it takes a lot of skill to make it look like I hurt a guy, but to deliver a move with, as Brett said, the excellence of execution, and to make fans happy. And the bigger pops you get, it's because the moves are executed properly, and these fans are very smart now and savvy to what looks good and why it looks good and what a good spot is, and the work that goes into 2 guys talking in the back, or 4 guys or 6 guys going in to try to remember a dance and getting hit in the head full contact, and not forgetting what we're supposed to do and protecting the other guy's life, because in wrestling you put your life in another guy's hands more than any other sport I've ever seen. And that's something that people, I think, sometimes forget.
Absolutely.
So I hope I haven't blabbered on too much for you guys. Sometimes these questions get stretched out, but
Not at all. Well,
No.
now I know how much you absolutely adore cats. And at one point, you apparently had almost like a cat cafe in your house because you were
Yeah.
breeding them and selling them. And so for you, what was that atmosphere?
I'm impressed
like
you
being
did some
surrounded-
homework on me. I had no idea if you knew who I was or anything
Of
about my
course. I only
life,
interview
so-
people that I want to have on the show that I like.
So that's cool. Well, I love my cats more than most humans. So, but
I'm the same way with my dogs.
I ended up having a divorce, and I lost a lot of my cats. And the ones I had to give to a shelter. And recently, the shelter was shut down. So I have to give a sad story that I ended up losing like 25 of my cats, basically. And most of them went to good homes, I think. Now I've been gone wrestling in the States for a long time now. It's been almost 4 years straight of wrestling and living in the States, and a little bit of jail time, to be honest, if we're going to do real interviews, some jail time for something that happened in Texas. And so this
Busy
is the
man.
promoter calling me, asking me where I am and why I'm talking so long, but he can wait. I have 2 cats now. One's Mr. Velvet, and another one's Caspian, and those cats are my motivation whenever I come home. They're what keeps me happy, because wrestling's a very lonely road, and being single on the road is tough. And when you have a wife or girlfriend and you can't see her very much, or you have to travel and she doesn't get to travel, it makes it a difficult relationship. I've had a couple beautiful girlfriends and wife, and it didn't work out because my travel schedule was so crazy. And I've watched a lot of other wrestlers lose their family and deal with divorce and suffering and loneliness after, and their dog or cat keeps them alive when they come home. So most of my cats are now rehomed. I want to start breeding again. My big thing is just training the one cat I have, Mr. Velvet, to come to the ring and sit on the turnbuckle.
I was going to ask if there was any training kind of coming
Yeah,
along, because
he's
you've talked
training.
about wanting to train cats before, but I didn't know how that was.
Mr. Money was trained really well, but I lost Mr. Money to one of my ex-girlfriends during a stint when I was in jail, and I was happy that he went to her because she had 6 of my other cats. I'd given her a bunch of cats over the 2-year relationship I had with her. And his wife, he has 2 wives, Mr. Money, 2 mate females.
Mr. Money Jr.?
No, Mr. Money Senior, the one. I have Mr.
Okay.
Money Jr., and he ended up going to my manager. And now I have Mr. Velvet, they're all from the same bloodline, and they all came from Mexico originally. So, but Mr. Velvet is my new one. I'm training him. He did WrestleMania weekend. He did 4 shows. No turnbuckle stuff yet, but
Yet.
he has been sitting on the turnbuckle during practices,
Okay.
watching matches and stuff like that. So he's doing pretty good. So.
Is it easy to train a cat?
No, not at all.
It is not.
Harder to train a cat, and women are next on that list, I think, of impossible to train. You can get them to do it if they really love you, or if they want to do it. Otherwise, it's like pulling teeth. So.
And how long did it take for the turnbuckle trick? Kind of just sit there?
Yeah, you just hope to God that he's been sitting in the bag long enough that he doesn't want to be in the bag anymore, and that if I put him on the turnbuckle, it's like solitary confinement for the cat. Either sit in the bag all day and don't do anything, or you can come out and deal with people. And like I say, with cats and women, I've had different results. Some love the training, and some don't like the training. And a cat could piss on your blanket or pillow pretty quick if he doesn't like you, or scratch the shit out of you. So. And my cats are, again, the ones I have right now are my motivation to keep going. And fans, I love you guys so much, and I hope this interview's watched by many people, and you guys get a kick out of me and understand the respect I have for you, the fan, and it's transferred into me trying to risk my life through my moves to make sure you guys know how much I love you.
Well, I believe you have to go, don't you?
You're not coming to the strip club with us, I don't think, are you?
I don't think so.
Well,
Unless you got some extra dollar bills on you.
I
Well,
do.
actually, we don't have dollar bills in Canada. So like,
I do.
do they do
I will.
loot?
I will pay. I will pay
loonies?
for you to come if you want. You can throw some. You can throw some coins, or you can
But the
throw
same-
something else.
Do they throw loonies and toonies at strip clubs? I really don't know.
I don't know yet. I think you give loonies to the girls and toonies for the strip club. I think that's how it works.
That's how it works. All right, I'm
back
learning
in the day,
a lot.
they get a magnetic belt. I think that's how they pick up the coins.
That's
So-
really smart. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I seriously appreciate it.
God bless you.
Handshake and
Thank
a
you so
hug,
much.
right?
Yes, for
Bring
sure.
it in. Thank you very much. And remember, to everybody viewing, you can visit us at aliciatoot.com for all exclusive interviews and features. See you next time.